In the last video, I mentioned how 98% of people die without ever fulfilling their dreams. And it's a scary fact. But in this video, I'm just going to lay out quickly how to actually not be a part of that 98%, be part of the 2%, and hopefully, potentially help people increase the percentage from 2% to something higher. Although sticking to the 98%, we also know that not just dreams, 92% of people give up on their yearly goals and ambitions, never mind their lifelong dreams. So now, knowing that only 2% achieve their dreams, so fulfill their dreams, and only 8% of people complete their yearly goals, I think it's quite safe to say that the 2% who do achieve and fulfill their dreams are part of the 8% who actually complete their yearly goals, right? So technically speaking, by sticking to your goals and ambitions for more than 1 year, you've already increased your chances to 25% to achieve your dreams. And the thing is, those chances are 3.5 million times higher or larger than actually winning the lottery. And even though 25% is quite a bit higher than a lottery, like I said, winning the lottery, we don't want to leave it down to chance. Leaving it down to chance is not an option. So I'll lay out how to actually fulfill your dreams step by step. Number 1, fix your mindset. Before you can set out to actually build any plans, systems, because the truth is, I could give you the best plan and the best system in the world, and if your mindset just isn't there and isn't wired for growth and success, then ultimately you won't be able to do it. Your mindset is the foundation and it has to be there. And there's something that Stephen Covey said. And he said that we see the world not as it is, but as we are, or as we are conditioned to see it or be. And I have a few different separate things regarding mindset here. And your mindset really just is the lens through which you see and perceive the world, and you interpret experiences and navigate the world. And just to say it again correctly, we see the world not as it is, but as we are, or as we are conditioned to see it. And it's true, which is why you need to fix your mindset, because once again, your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. How you see the world, how you perceive things. So the first thing regarding mindset is embracing a growth mindset. And the interesting thing is they actually did a study, okay? And they took 5th and 6th grade students in the US, and they gave them each, splitting them up into 2 groups, unless they didn't split them up, and they just knew their individual traits. They gave them each 12 problems, conceptual problems. And 8 of these problems were problems they could do, problems that were at their level. They also, however, then gave them 4 problems they couldn't do because they were simply too advanced for their age group. And the incredible thing is that about half of these kids had a fixed mindset, and the other half had a growth mindset. And the thing is, the students who adopted the belief that brain power is fixed, so they had a fixed mindset, give up far more easily. They give up quickly on tough problems and blamed their lack of intelligence. The students who had a growth mindset, however, and who believed that or had a notion about brain power that's a bit more expansive, They actually persisted for much longer, and they came up with much more inventive and creative ways to solve the problems. And what do you think they blamed their lack of ability to complete the problems on? Nothing. They didn't blame anything. And in fact, they actually just acknowledged that setbacks were inevitable along the path to mastery, and that they might actually be valuable markers on the journey. Like I mentioned in the previous video, those setbacks were the things that were giving them opportunities to succeed more tomorrow, rather than seeing the setbacks as detriments to their success of today. Now, the next thing I wrote here is self-image. And this is extremely powerful, and it's exactly what I finished my previous video on. The reason self-image is so important is because your actions align with your self-image. Okay? You didn't stop going to the gym because you lacked motivation. You stopped going to the gym because you saw yourself as someone who's trying to lose weight, and not just as someone who goes to the gym. And the thing is, cultivating a positive mindset is just crucial for actually being able to achieve the things you want to achieve. And I also wrote here, which I've already said before, about the expectation theory. You get what you think you deserve, because that's the way you see yourself, and that's the actions you take. It determines the actions you take, and that's why it's so important. And regarding a practical outline of how to actually do this and cultivate a good mindset, or rather self-image, is just visualize the person you want to be. Visualize you in the future, the best version of yourself. And it's only when you actually do this and you see this version of yourself that you can actually notice the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And it's only when you notice the gap that you can take the actions necessary to bridge the gap. By asking yourself, what actions does this person take? And then doing those actions. Second thing regarding mindset is to be a student of life. Because you cannot learn what you think you already know. And there is a quote by Epictetus I have here. It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows, right? You just have to recognize that growth actually happens outside of your comfort zone, and apply to courses, mentorship, buy books, masterminds. Going to masterminds and getting expensive mentors might not be something everyone may be able to do, but buying books is almost always an option. And it's incredibly important just to be a student of life and have this humility and recognize that you just don't know so much. Because personally, I know that I don't know so much. I don't know what I don't know. And that's why I just have to consistently take action, be and see myself as a student of life to be able to acquire new knowledge and become more valuable. Just surround yourself with mentors, role models, and people who actually inspire you to reach new levels of excellence. One thing for your mindset is growth and perseverance. And as cliche as never give up is, I mentioned this in the last video, how can it possibly not work out if you don't give up, right? And the thing is, it takes grit and perseverance. But that's not the problem, it's the solution. That's something that Daniel Pink said in his book Drive that I really liked. And you should be glad that it's hard. I've heard Alex Mosey say this. It means that achieving the thing makes it valuable. Because the reason going outside or tying your shoes or brushing your teeth is not something worthy of praise is because everyone is able to do it. If everyone was able to get to six-pack, it wouldn't be something valuable. everyone can get six-pack, sorry, but if everyone was able to easily get one, and if the path there was lined with daisies and spanned by a rainbow, but it's not. And that's just the harsh reality. And if you really want to achieve your dreams and the things you want, then you're going to have to go through it. And you should be glad. Because that's how and where you grow. It's how you build your character. And you become a person full of wisdom and experience. Now, obviously, going after your dreams it is a wonderful thing, right? But like I mentioned, they're just not spanned with daisies or lined with daisies and spanned by a rainbow, because the thing is, if it was, then the percentage of people who fulfill their dreams would probably be a bit higher than 2%, right? And that's just why I said at the beginning of either this video or the last video that this should make this statistic or this fact should encourage you even more rather than demotivate you and discourage you. Because that's what makes it so valuable. And you shouldn't go after your dreams to try and prove to other people that you can or try and be better than others, but simply to experience the things you want to experience. Live life. To fulfilling your dreams is to actually clarify your vision. Because the thing is, how can you possibly find something if you do not know what it looks like? And George Carver said, where there is no vision, there is no hope. And it's true, because you cannot possibly try and get somewhere if you don't know where the place is. And even Seneca said, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. And if you have no idea what you actually want out of life, then you're never going to take the actions necessary to get there, because you just don't even know. No signs. And here's the thing, you won't even notice signs along your journey that are left for you. And you won't notice these things that will point you to where you want to go, because you won't know where you want to go. The way I like to do this is I like to list out the 5 areas of life. So for B Mega, that's health and fitness, mental, emotional, relationships and fulfillment, purpose and spirituality, and personal and financial development. And I like to write out in detail so I can actually see and visualize how my life looks like and what the best version of myself looks like in each of these areas in the future. And it's once again, when you do this, that you can actually notice the gap, and you can ask yourself, how can I bridge this gap, and what actions can I take to do so? So take some time to actually reflect and just write out what your vision is, because this is super important. The third thing is you want to set up milestone goals, because this is the thing that's actually going to make sure you're on track to fulfilling your dreams. And I have some specific examples here from my newsletter. And once you're clear about your vision, you will be able to know what goals and milestones you want to set along the way. So there's an example, or two, in fact, that I have here. And I'm sure you've heard of the SMART goal setting method, where it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-based. And the reason for this is you want this to be specific, where rather than saying, I want to be jacked, you say, I want to put on 10 kilos of lean muscle. You want to be specific with your goals, otherwise you might demotivate yourself, in fact, because you won't have something tangible to go for and strive towards. But there's something important in drive that I mentioned in one of my videos, and it's the difference between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. I really believe in intrinsic motivation and that you should have learning goals over performance goals. And the difference here is a performance goal is, for example, get an A in French class at school, right? Whereas a learning goal is to learn French, which unfortunately isn't very specific. However, it's intrinsically motivating, because you actually want to learn the language. And you're not doing it just to get a good grade in school, just to show other people that you did. And a couple examples. If your dream is to travel the world, then you might set a goal to travel to 20 countries across Europe, Asia, and Africa by the time you're 40. Now that's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it's time-based. Because it's by the time you're 40. And if your dream is to build the world's most impressive physique, then your goal, this is quite a hefty goal, might be to attend 8 Mr. Olympias by 2040 and to win five of them. Now the thing is, don't let someone tell you what is achievable and possible for you. Because the thing is, they're not judging you, they're judging themselves through you. And I like this because Rob Moore said this. They are just judging themselves through you. They're trying to reflect on you, their own beliefs, their own experiences, their own attitudes, and their own values. So don't let someone actually tell you what you can or cannot do. So make your goals lofty but down to earth. Unless, of course, your dream is to travel to space or something, to explore space. You have your goals in place, and now it's time for your plans. So I'm laying out a GPS system here, where the first step was to actually clarify and fix your mindset before that. That's the mindset and the foundation. But to clarify what you want, because first you have to determine what you want, and then you set up a system. And it's a GPS system here where it's goals, plans, and systems. So with your goals in place now, you have your plans where, given that your goal is to travel to 20 countries before you're 40, your plan might just be to travel to one country a year, right? Because if you're 20 or you're 19, then, you will get to your goal by just doing that once every year. And if you're the bodybuilder, then being that you want to win 5 Mr. Olympias, potentially your shorter time goal, or rather your plan to do that, is to reach 90 kilos, which is 200 pounds, by the way, at 8% body fat by the time you're 30. And that being your plan should be the thing that will get you and keep you on track. I apologize, it will get you on track. The system is the thing that will keep you on track. So you set up a goal, which is your target. The plan is the thing that gets you on track. And the system is the thing that keeps you on track. So I'll go over the system now. Same thing again. You could have the best plan in the world, and if your systems are not set up, you will ultimately fail. And this time, it's not the good kind of failure where you fail and you learn, but instead, because your mindset potentially isn't set up, then you fail and you give up. Because realistically, giving up is the only kind of failure, only kind of possible failure. So that's the last thing we want, giving up, you giving up. And just your systems not being in place, being the reason you give up, would be terrible. And James Clear said, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, which is true. And that's why you need to have these systems in place to actually keep you on track. So the thing is that setting up a reliable system is about removing friction. Because once you have your plan, you want to reduce as much friction as possible to make sure you can stay on that plan and keep executing regularly and consistently to get you to your goals. Because you obviously won't otherwise if you don't stay consistent. And the system is the thing that keeps you consistent and keeps you doing the good and necessary habits and actions. So, as an example, if you're the traveler, then your system, once again, you just want to remove as much friction as possible. Do things ahead of time, okay? So if you're a traveler, at the end of each year, choose and plan your trip for the year ahead, right? And also save money each month. So once you actually have your holiday or trip booked the year ahead, then you know how much it's going to cost, and you can divide that cost up into each month and put away the necessary amount each month into your SAND, which is Save and Do Not Touch. It's from Rob Moore's money. Save and Do Not Touch, specifically for your holiday to allow you to make sure you have the money. Or set up a direct debit by booking the holiday the year ahead. And also just join communities and speak to people who travel to get their tips and their advice on traveling. For the bodybuilder, look for a coach, a personal coach to not only keep you accountable, but give you the necessary advice and the things you need to hear. Because there's just some things sometimes that you will never notice yourself, and you just, at the end of the day, need someone else to tell you. What you would do also is just immerse yourself in nutritional and training advice from those who have done it before. So that could be the coach, communities, and other people. Lay out your gym clothes. Something as simple as laying out your gym clothes the night before reduces friction on the day to make sure you go, because you need to be doing these actions to get to your goal. And you've obviously worked on your self-image, so that's when everything actually falls into place. And I did actually, at the end of this email newsletter, talk about how Nikola Tesla supposedly had these dreams which told him about the AC electrical systems, and they inspired him to create them. And he somehow interpreted his dreams, which is interesting and incredible. So, because of that, to finish this off, I have a quote from Nikola Tesla. Our dreams are the blueprints of our reality. Believe in them, pursue them, and watch as they shape the world around you. So, that's all. Go after your dreams and never let anyone tell you that you can't. Be mega, my friend. Go achieve your dreams.